don't drink, what up? I got something to say.
Hey, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kiera, also known as the Nurse Named Purple Kisses. I actually just moved to another hotel down the street, so that's why everything looks a little different. So it took me some time to kind of get the lighting together in here, and I usually never sit on hotel room furniture because people do things in the hotel. So, and I don't feel like they clean it enough. But for my reviews, for y'all, I'll go ahead and do it. Like I went ahead and I bring Lysol every time I go to a new hotel. Like I just go ahead and just clean it and stuff because, you know, you can't trust people. I'm sorry. Anyway, so this review is gonna be the haves and the have-nots. It's season 8, episode 12. Okay. And I also, side story real quick. I actually went down to the bar earlier I slept all day. It's my first day off in a while. I mean, I slept all day. I didn't get a chance to get out and get anything done today. So I actually had went down to the bar and I got me a little drink or whatever. And before I got my drink, I actually saw, it was actually like a bartender down there. The bar was really packed. There was a bartender, this little guy, and it was all men around the bar. So I was like, okay. Well, I was the only woman to walk over there, and I was actually the only black woman in the bar. I think 2 came in later, but you know, I'm like, whatever. So I ended up going up to the bar. I asked the bartender. Not even get a chance to ask the bartender. I just say, you know, I walk up, I'm in regular clothes, these clothes, and I just have like some little gold and black Fashion Nova Bermuda shorts on. And I end up, you know, getting ready to order, and he's like, ma'am, you'll have to go find somebody over there to take your order. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm just like, what is this about? So I'm already like, you know, I don't even want anything anymore. Well, I saw this lady, her name was Zoe. She was real sweet. She ended up asking what I wanted, what I needed. She didn't pick out my drink I want because I don't really drink like that. So, you know, I always want to try something besides the same old things we used to get. I don't want to keep getting to walk me down, okay? A cosmopolitan, you know. I don't need to keep getting the sex on the beach, okay? I need trying to expand. So I don't remember what this is called. But it was good. So I was like, I just kind of been sipping on it or whatever. But anyway, she ends up giving me the drink for free, and she's telling me, she's like, you know what? I feel bad for how he talked to you. So she gives it to me for free, and that's really sweet. And I was just telling her, she told me, you know, how, you know, I can mention her in the survey if I want to. And I said I will, because I do reviews. I do good and bad. So whatever. So I'm on my way back up to the room with my drink, and I run into, like, I think it's the owner and like the assistant manager or whatever it is. They run the hotel. His bosses, the man who, and they don't tell me that right off. They just end up saying, hey, you know, they're like, you know, it's kind of crazy. And I tell the woman, I'm like, oh, I know, you know, and the guy's like, well, you know, it's packed. And I'm like, yeah, it is really packed in there. It's a bunch of people. And then I said, but you know what? The bartender gave me this for free. I said, the lady gave me the drink for free because the guy was really, really rude at the bar. They were like, oh my gosh, you know what? He was like, I'm happy we could take care of you. And I said, I'm happy they took care of you. So then we're going up 15 floors. I'm on the top floor. So then along the way, you know, because I think they stopped at 11. I think 8 and then 11 or whatever. So on the way up, you know, they're like, well, you know, they tell me their titles. And I'm like, oh, wow, really? You know, so that's cool. So they're like, well, we're happy that you know, that was taken care of, that was handled. And, but they're over sales. That's what it is. But they do, I forgot, they do a lot with this. I cannot remember, y'all. It's so bad. I was already sipping on my drink. I don't remember. But, anyway, so the guy ends up telling me after the lady gets off and I tell her I like her Chanel bag. It was cute. He's end up like, telling me, he's like, hey, I'm really happy that was solved. And, we're happy you're with us and stuff. He's like, how long are you with us? I was like, at least a month. He's like, oh, And of course, he ended up, asking about was it for business. I told him what I do. And so that was just really nice. But it just shows you never know who you run into. Treat everybody the same. Treat everybody with respect. No matter, what their sex is. No matter, whatever they choose to do. Just, treat everybody the same. You have to. So anyway, I'm sorry. Let me get back into my review. So this is season 8, episode 12. Really, it's not. But anyway, it's called Black Panther. So this episode opens up with Madison and Justin at the hospital. I'm sorry, not Justin, Jeffrey. Madison and Jeffrey. Well, Justin is at the hospital, but he's somewhere cold, honey. Shoved into in a little storage room. It sounds very dark. I'm sorry. It's so hard because sometimes nurses have a very dark sense of humor a lot of times, and you have to turn it off when you're outside of work. But sometimes when you're at work, it helps you to kind of cope with the things you see. So let me stop. Anyway, so Madison and Jeffrey are at the hospital. So of course, the last episode, Tanner, which is Justin's brother, he ends up telling him, he's like, my brother had HIV, oh my gosh, and he has HIV, and he was set on taking you with him and stuff. And Jeffrey, of course, he falls for it because he's so gullible. And it's crazy because I think he was like a psych major. Like I think he has his doctorate. Like I know he was talking about treating people. So I don't know. Like that's confusing because I've never seen him do any doctor things except the first season to treat people. So, and I think that's the clinic that went into foreclosures last episode. So anyway, he's like, Madison's like, are you okay? Because he just left the morgue with them, and he's like, yes, yeah, yeah. I'm like, come on, Jeffrey. So Jeffrey ends up telling him, I don't know how to break it to you. And he told me something, and Matt's okay, but just let that go. Because he knows how Jeffrey gets. He's like, just let it go, please. So he's like, well, I need to tell you that I think you need to hear that. I think you need to hear this. So he's just like, well, what is it? Okay? And, he's trying to be patient with him now. And he's just like, oh, his brother just told me that he had HIV. And, So then Madison's like, oh, were you not having safe sex with him? He was like, I mean, we use condoms, but condoms aren't 100%. And then he's like, well, why would you trust somebody that's having sex with people that they pick up in the back of his cop car? You don't know this man. He sexually assaulted you, and then you started sleeping with him, and then you feel like, well, I thought he was good. No, not in this world ever can you just think somebody's good, okay? But that's him. Excuse me, I'm sorry. He said, Madison was like, just don't worry. He's trying to calm him down. He's like, just don't worry, okay? Just go get tested. He's like, there are things out there that you could take. He was like, well, why aren't you worried? He's like, there's things out there that you could take. I take stuff to prevent it. And there's antivirals that you can actually take now to help. And nothing is 100%, but the drugs that you can take are antivirals, and they help fight against it. And actually, we were talking, me and some more nurses were talking about sometimes when the people that have HIV, they were doing a study to say that sometimes, but they take a lot of antivirals. I see a lot of combo drugs now come through to where they don't have to take so many pills. They just take like one good one. They were just, talking about how there was actually a defense, and I think a lower rate, don't quote me, I think a lower rate of people that are living with HIV that actually caught COVID. So we're still learning. Anyway, so he was just like, no, I do what I'm supposed to do to protect myself. Like, I'm trying to protect myself. Jeffrey did not know about any prevention. And I just don't understand how you can be a medical professional. You're not working in the field, but you don't even have to be a medical professional. The commercials come on all the time. Like, what are you watching? I guess you're too busy watching the door to see if Madison come through. Watching the window to see if Justin outside stalking you. Anyway, because you ain't watching TV. You ain't listening to radio. I guess you don't have commercials come through when you listening to, you streaming music. Anyway, so he's just talking to him. They're going to end up getting him tested. So, in the next scene, you got Benny and Candace coming in. So, Candace, I'm kind of with Candace because you got to be careful where you stay. Like, I'm all about saving some money. That's why I moved from hotels to hotels, because sometimes one will have a better rate. My last hotel with the Marriott, I got for $46 a night because I price matched through Booking. So Booking has a price. Just FYI, you can always go on Marriott site. You can find the price match form, and they price match and give you 25% off. FYI, just in case you decide to go out of town. So that's why I'm here. I switch hotels. So you gotta be careful because people have bed bugs. It's nasty. They don't clean stuff. I always just about find hair and they don't get up in hotels. And that is so disgusting to me. I hate it. So I always bring cleaning supplies because even the nicest hotels will always have something going on, So anyway, they go into the hotel. It's like a $600 a week versus $400 a night. Now, I'm not saying spend $400 a night. You want to get a good rate, but you also need to make sure that it's not just a dump because you don't want to have nowhere safe. That happened to me. I had a guy right next door to me. He had a adjoining room to me at a Red Roof Inn in Jackson, Tennessee. Okay? Just don't go there. My grandmother was actually in the hospital dying, and I had to get a hotel room there, and the guy was cursing. He was saying the N-word. Like, he was just being very crazy. Like, because he was cussing on the phone all night. The front desk asked him to keep it down. I was by myself. My husband was still in Memphis, and he was just like acting. The police came out. It got so bad, and I'm just a single one by myself. I didn't have my gun on me, and I'm like, this is crazy. So anyway, just be careful because it's more than just the bed bugs, it's surroundings. That's what Candace said. She said, Benny, you're not worried about getting your truck stolen? And he's like, I mean, because, Benny kind of, he a little off, okay? And she's like, I really hate the ghetto. Then here go Benny. Oh, you think you're too good for the ghetto now? And she's like, no. My son died in a place just like this, which he did back a few seasons ago. He got shot, and HAHN and Benny made it. So, that's when War came and shot it up before he got killed. Oh, I'm so happy he was gone. So they ended up saying, look, she's like, hey, Benny, if you're going to take this girl on a date, why don't you get a suit? Now, I think he could have just wore just some nice little clothes. He could have they could have took him to get like a nice little dress shirt, some nice pants, some nice shoes, get a little haircut and stuff. That would have been nice to me. They tell him to go out and buy the suit. So he goes out and buy the suit. Honey, I'll tell you about it. We're going to get to that. She said, go out there and buy a suit. So he's like, okay, well, I just, if it's more than $100, I'm not going to get it. More than $100? Sir, I'm going to need you to stop. Stop. If you can't buy a suit for more than $100, I mean, sometimes they be having some little deals, but if that's what you expect them to do, just wear you some nice clothes, okay? Just take that, buy you some nice little clothes, and you'll be nice. You don't have to look at a dinner. Come on, Benny. Stop it. So, anyway, they end up talking about that, and then you see Mitch come in. Mitch stops in, and he's like, oh, what are y'all doing? And they're like, oh, Benny got a date. He's like, what? He got a date? So he's like, I know somebody to hook you up. They both trying to send him to somebody they know they can hook him up, for like a nice suit or whatever. So he's just, going back and forth about that. So Mitch is like, well, Candace, why don't we go out and get something to eat? So she's like, okay, we'll do that. So he ends up leaving. Benny ends up leaving to go find his suit. And then you got, which I'm trying to think. I don't remember Benny like taking a shower. I don't remember taking a shower. Then he went out and got the suit. And I don't remember going back to the hotel and taking a shower between that. Because then he probably would have saw them. Anyway, it's TV. So, anyway, that's just, if you want a date, come on now. So, maybe he took one earlier and he just, I don't know. I'm thinking about this too much. So, then he gets to the shop. Benny gets to the suit shop. He ends up telling the lady, you know, what he wants and everything. And she's like, oh, you know, well, you know, you're going to pull, you know, you're going to do good in this suit, whatever. And you're going to get you some in this suit. He was like, well, if I don't get anything, then you owe me something. This lady was like, so I'm not a hooker. I'm not a hooker. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what's making Benny talk like this. Like, he was saying earlier to Candace in the other scene, he was like, oh, I'm just trying to smash. I mean, shoot, I ain't trying to do anything. You trying to smash, but you about to buy this $1,200 suit, sir? Okay? So, and he ends up talking about that, going back and forth with this woman. Then, you know, asking her for her number. And she's like, sir, aren't you about to go out with somebody else? We're not together. Benny, don't start feeling yourself because you got this little money, okay? Because you got, honey, your days are numbered. All right? You already got some money last time and it got taken away from you. Golly. Benny just, I'm not going to miss him acting stupid. I'm really not. Acting for real, like, I really hate that they make Tyler Lepley look like that. Like, it's ridiculous. So, she ends up, you know, talking to him, and he's like, oh, well, why you showing me this suit? This suit's a little bit more expensive. And he's like, well, how much commission are you getting? And just going back and forth. It's just a really unneeded scene, okay? Just know he got the suit. All right, so we get back to the hospital. Jeffrey's sitting there looking crazy. Just, you know, Madison comes in and he's like, well, you're negative. He's like, whew. You know, he's relieved, he's negative, whatever. And then Jeffrey brings up the dumb idea. He's still not satisfied. He brings up the dumb idea. He's like, oh, I really wish I could know. I wish we can get a sample of Justin. And, you know, you want him to go down to the morgue so that you can get a sample, and you want him to run it in the lab at the hospital, okay? You're trying to get Madison fired. You're trying to get his license taken from him, okay? Madison was like, he was like, no, I'm going to lose my job. Like, you want him to go down to the morgue and get a blood sample from this man and test it for HIV? Who do you think you are? Like, I guess Jeffrey feels he's not in touch with the real world. Like, he's so just taken care of. Like, you need to get out there in the real world. No, he don't, because he'll get taken advantage of, probably get robbed. Anyway, I'm just like, this is dumb. Come on. You should know about these things. You went to school. Like, I don't know. It's just, anybody would know this. So, then, he's like, well, I wonder if Justin lied to me. I'm sorry. He's like, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So he's just like, well, I wonder if Justin lied to me. So Madison's like, what do you mean? Well, I mean, why did he lie? He's like, no, he's like, why did his brother lie? Why does brother lie to me? And he's like, I mean, I don't know, like, probably to mess with you. Like, Madison's just like, I don't know. Stop talking to that. Stop trusting him. You know, he's like, I don't know why he did that. Like, I don't know. I don't know the reason. He just keep on just rambling on about that. And then he's like, well, let me just look. Because I can't give you out the information, but he looks in the system. This is another thing I wouldn't have done. He's looking in the system to see if he can, like, see his medication list and his, like, history. That, you're not supposed to do that either. You are not on this man's current treatment team. Again, why are you going in the system, logging in with your ID, so they know you're logging in? It's going to flag them through the EMR that you're logging into this man's system and you're not supposed to be. So he ends up logging in, and he's like, okay, so I can't tell you, but just ask me if he was lying to you or not. Ask me if Justin was lying to you or not. yes or no. You know, I'll tell you, yes or no. Jeffrey's like, I don't know. What? What are you talking about? He's like, I see his chart. Ask me if he was lying to you about having HIV or not. And I just say yes or no. He's like, what are you saying? I'm like, ooh, oh my gosh. Okay, over his head. And I was just like, I cannot believe that Jeffrey is this slow. Why are you this slow? I don't get it. Did you pay your way through college? Like, did you pay somebody off? Like, dadgum, like, I mean, why? Why? So he's just like going back and forth trying to help him get it, like making him catch on. He's like, just ask me, like, he's just asked me if Justin lied. He's like, did Justin lie? And he was like, no, he didn't lie to you. We all got it. Jeffrey's still like, what? Why can't you just tell me if he was HIV positive? Y'all, I was like, why are you acting like this? Like, I was just so over this scene. We spent way too much time on Justin, Jeffrey, and Madison. Like, please let that man rest in peace. Okay? Just go. Okay? Make a little video tribute to him, but you need to get past this. Okay? So, anyway. Then he's like, oh, and then he's like, he said he had to give me something. He said he had to give me something. And what, he's just like, you gave him your address? You gave me your address? Yeah. So Madison's like, why? He's like, do you still got security at the house? Well, yeah, I still got security. Good, because you need it for the rest of your life, because I see you making more stupid decisions like this. Anyway, so then he ends up, we get Mitch. So, sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry. But, anyway, you got Mitch. So we get on over there. You got Mitch in there. You got Benny calls him, and he's telling him about the suit. He sent him a picture of himself in the suit, and just, you know, talking about he's still waiting for Candace to get ready. And then Benny makes a comment like, oh, pretty girls blowed up too. And he's like, oh, yeah, you know, they're like joking about the suit. He's like, okay, somebody hooked you up, okay. So then he gets off the phone with them, and Ken's like, oh, I want to see you. He was like, well, you'll see once you get out the bathroom. He's going to show her the picture. So she's like, okay, I'm going to be out in a minute. He's like, well, I'm getting hungry out here. Trying to be freaky. So when she gets out of the bathroom, she comes out. Mitch laid back, honey. He laid back in his drawers. Okay, ready to take on candy cane. Ready to get some candy cane. So Ken's like, what you doing? What is this? And he's just like, you know, come on, let's do it for old time's sake. Because, you know, they used to date back in the day, but Mitch's family is racist, so that's not going to work out. And also, back a while back, I remember him seeing Candace get sexually assaulted. And I know War had a gun, but something about that, him watching her while he was with another woman in the back of the truck. They were butt naked in the back of the truck, Mitch and this girl, and like the bed of the truck. But he remember he's watching, and it was just, this scene kind of made me uncomfortable with the whole Candace and Mitch thing. Like, but I mean, I kind of was here for them. Like, I hate all that stuff because I kind of slick ended up, for a while I didn't like them because of that scene. But I kind of ended up thinking that they would be kind of cute together, but that's not gonna happen. They gave us a little teaser, but that's not gonna happen. So she shuts him down. And then he ends up telling her, well, just come on over here. You know, I'm not going to try anything. And they end up, I'm sorry. Anyway, so he ends up talking about, you know, look, I know my family's not going to like if something happens to you or Beanie. Because, you know, my family, you know, said they were going to protect you guys. But if Jim does try you, we might not be able to protect you because it runs deep with the Criers. Like, their connection runs deep. Jim done did them some favors, and did Jim some favors. So he was just like, he could come after Beanie, but if something happens, if I hear anything like from my grandmother, because he have to run it by my grandmother first. So if any of that happens, then I'll let you know. He picked this up. And so I'm like, okay, that's just, but he just bought a house. Bennett just bought a whole house right there in town with these people. Great. He should have told him that before he went in and signed the papers. Like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, why y'all gotta stay there? Get out of town. Go somewhere else, away from this small town mess. So anyway, he ends up, telling Candace about that. And Candace like, okay, well, good to know. I keep that in mind. So the next scene, you got where Madison sleep next to Jeffrey. They're at, Jeffrey and David's house. And he gets a call from Tanner, Jeffrey. And he's just like, oh, I can't make it to the house to see you, but do you think you can meet up with me somewhere? Strange, okay? So gullible Jeffrey is just like, well, I really don't want it. It's okay. It's okay. I don't want it. And so he's like, no, it's his last dying wish. How was it his last dying wish? I mean, because you didn't even know he was gonna kill himself. Think, Jeffrey. Read in between the lines. So again, he's just like, well, I got something for you. He's like, why don't you open it up and tell me what it is? Nah, fuck, I be invading his privacy. So I'm giving you permission. He's like, no, I want to give it to you myself. So he just kind of starts trying to make him feel guilty for not wanting it. Like, it's nothing. What it is he gonna try to do something to him, and he should be able to see this. Like, it's gonna be like a hate crime. So then he ends up going back. He ends up going back and forth with him on the phone for a little while about this. And he's like, well, can you at least come to the memorial service? He's like, okay, when is it? Oh, it's tomorrow. Did he just die? He's like, oh, it's tomorrow. And he's like, okay, I'll go. Why are you going? Just send some flowers, okay? No, you don't need to go. But he tells him he's gonna go. So he ends up getting out the phone, and he's like, oh, before we got the phone, you're a good guy. You did great by him. Jeffrey, don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. If you want to make it out and be one of the ones that follow out this show through the end, don't listen to him. Okay? And so then he ends up talking about, to Madison. So Madison is not really asleep. So he's just like, what he ends up opening his eyes up, he's like, what was it about? And Jeffrey's like, oh, he didn't know he was awake listening to him. And he was just like, well, it was his brother and he wants to give me something. And he's just like, Madison trying to talk sense into him, like, don't listen to this, don't do this. He don't want to listen. Okay? He's like, no, I don't think you need to take this. Okay, I'm not. It was crazy. And, yeah. So then Madison gets a call, and he said that he got called into work. Well, he got called into work because one of the girls was hungover. He said, oh, well, she posted on, on social media about her being out, and then she's hungover, and I gotta come in. I wish you would. I would call in for some family emergency stuff, and you call me in. Like, that's completely not. When my house burned, I remember this girl called me and said, I'm sorry about your house, but you think you can come in? You are insensitive. Like, come on, what were y'all gonna do if I wasn't here? So, anyway, he ends up, talking to him, and he's like, look, I gotta go into work or whatever. So he's like, talking about, what did he say to him? He was just talking about he wouldn't miss him so much if he had a job. And Jeffrey was like, oh, who said I was gonna miss you? He was like, basically talking about, I wish I had parents take care of me. He was like, the hospital hiring. He do need a job. Like, what you doing? He just laying in the bed. All you do is just laying around all the time and going around trying to dodge stalkers. Like, you do nothing productive in your life. So then I'm thinking during this, I'm like, what if somebody finds Kobe and they end up bringing me in while Madison's there? You know, is that where that's going? And then you got where he ends up going and he gets to the hospital, and it's like that old messy nurse that's there. Well, she's really not messy when we see her, but she's messy in this scene. She's going back and forth asking Madison about, you know, his sex life, and then she's talking about she might be sleeping with this doctor, and how she almost thought about messing with Wyatt, and just laughing. I was just like, girl, come on. You called him in because y'all didn't have nobody, so you need to be trying to get to work. Shoot, stop playing with me like I want to be here. Okay, you called me out the bed to come and you playing. Anyway, so then of course they assign Wyatt to Madison, which I'm thinking, is it like some type of conflict of interest? Like you can say, hey, I don't feel comfortable working with this person because we have a history. Like he knows him. He really don't have to work with him. So then you got where he ends up going into the room. Wyatt tries to seduce him too by grabbing his arm, trying to get him to undo the cuffs. Why are nurses doing cuffs? Usually if somebody's like a prisoner or something, an inmate or something, they'll have like a guard for the prison stay there with them. Why are they having handcuffs? Why are the nurses doing this? Because they don't do that. I'm like, Tyler Perry, you're not staying consistent with reality. So anyway, Madison, I noticed this because he would end up saying to him, you know, no, I'm not going to give you any drugs. You're not going to try to make me feel like I need to give you any drugs. No. I don't like, don't you think I'm cute? Why say, don't you think I'm cute? He dismisses him, shuts him down, he walks out the room. Well, I was just noticing Madison works a lot of different specialties, and usually nurses don't flip-flop specialties like that. Like, usually if you're med-surg, which is a regular unit, you work ICU, like I do, you know, you do that. Sometimes you go from PCU, like step down or something, which is in between the regular floor and ICU. It's like when you're kind of going down, or you're almost at a step where you need to be up to ICU. So I do both, and I've done all three, but usually you don't see nurses just doing it. And then this same nursing station is for all the units. Like, I'm like, come on, they ain't got nobody else? They got nowhere else? So I was just like, what's going on? I peeped it. We need to change that up. And even ICU is in a room they can't even see in. It's got a closed door. Why you have somebody in ICU with a closed door? Not Wyatt, but it's been other people in this series I've seen it happen to. I'm like, it's crazy. So then the last thing, you got Benny. He's out there with the realtor. They sign the papers. And she's like, well, why are you here with me? Why are you here with me? And he's talking about the date. She's like, it's not a date. Okay. And then he's ordering his food. I don't want it with any pink. I want it done. I don't want any pink in there. And y'all got some steak sauce. I'm like, Benny, you so country. This sounds like something I do. Y'all got some honey mustard? I like honey mustard on everything. So she's end up like, hey, you know, look, let's just cut to the chase. Like, you know, let's go back to my place, have sex, so we can just get over this. Because she feels like basically she can't live her life. Like, she can't have a boyfriend, but I guess she just have sex with people because she don't want to attach him, because she knows Sandy crazy stuff, his family gonna stop all that. But I don't know why he's chasing her, because you're a racist. Why are you chasing this girl? It's a control thing. So she's like, look, Benny, you know, I really like you, but I can't do it. I just got a toxic relationship. Sandy walks up, toxic? He walk up through the restaurant? I think he got a tracker on her probably. He's just like, toxic? Excuse me? Are you talking about me? He snatches up a chair and sits down. You know, he intersects himself into their conversation. And then he's just like, oh, you sitting here talking to the black? I was like, he's just really loud, and people turn around. But I'm like, if I would notice it, it's like the whole restaurant should have turned around. Like, I don't know what that's about, because a few people just like no, I'm alert now, because somebody slinging furniture and hollering and yelling, and he was like, oh, he tapped his shoulder like this. Oh man, you know, I know you. I'm cool with your brother Mitch. You know, I know your family. He looked down at his shirt. You need to leave. And he was like, do you know she killed my baby, killed my son? I think she had an abortion. You know she killed my son? And he was like, well, you know, I'm not really, exactly, it's between us. And I need to talk to this B. Loud. echoes through the restaurant. People still aren't alarmed. Okay? I'm like, come on, y'all. And he was just like, what are you now? You a Black Panther? He was like, I just can't let you do this. Oh, what you now? You a Black Panther? What you doing? What you trying to stop? Yeah, I'm just like, oh my God, come on, Benny. Like, come on. She's like, please just go. You're gonna make it worse. Please just go. And then Benny was like, he ended up saying before, oh, we're on a date. You're in the middle of our date. She's like, oh, it's not a date. He's like, no, he's right, it's a date. She's like, no, I'm just trying to sell him my house. He's like, oh, okay. Like, he don't care nothing about that. So then after he goes back and forth, tells Benny to shut up. He's like disrespecting both of them, like just disrespecting them. Benny stands up real slow and he reaches over, like, you know, like those little movies and stuff. He's reached up real slow and he like snatches the bottle up and he like busts the glass over his head and they get to jacking. So he's throwing them around the restaurant, but that's where it ends. So we won't even see this. We didn't have Veronica this episode, whatever, but this is it, y'all. We'll see next time. It's gonna be probably good next time. A little bit more action. He's like throwing him around, you know, and he ends up calling Mitch, I think in the previous he calls Mitch or whatever, but we just talked, Candace and Mitch were just talking about this, trying to keep Benny out the way, but you know, he's slow. So anyway, thank y'all for watching my channel, and I actually have a couple more reviews I'm gonna do tonight. So thank you guys.